Good evening, morons. It is me. It's me. It's me. Give me a break, man. Only now I'm Give Me a Flake Man, and I'm back on the Give Me a Flake Man channel, which I closed about a month ago, a month and a half now. I've been on off here for six weeks, so give me a break. I do have a good reason to be back. Is I want to start making the laundry videos again. If you don't know what laundry videos are, they're videos where I just go off on a train of thought expedition. We don't know where it's going to go. And I usually drink a bit of whiskey. I've got the Canadian moose head that someone gave me the other day. I'm drinking that this evening. It's actually cheap. You know, I gotta be honest. I'm gonna tell you what I'm drinking tonight. Look at this. Oh, I started drinking this. Look at this. Tory's Black. I think it was like 2,500 yen. I don't remember how much it was, but I just thought I'd try it out and it was cheap. It's kind of strong. I think it's better for mixing for something, but I'm not much of a mixer. I'm not really, I'm just going to have one sip, one shot. I don't really enjoy this as much as my good stuff. I got some really good stuff, you know, so. Anyway, it's called a laundry video because you're not really expected to watch it. Although a lot of you seem to enjoy the amazingly handsome way this camera makes me look. So, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, just a minute. Now, first of all, yeah, I talk about whatever I want on this channel. It's Father's Day, right? So of course that's on my mind because I have a father. I'm a son of a gun. My father's actually in Europe now. Dad, you're in Europe. I guess I should make a video just for you, Dad. So I will. Let's just make this video just for my dad, and I'll just tell you about my dad because he's a big part of my psychology. I don't know how much he'll want me telling you about him, but well, he's old now. He'll be dead soon. Just kidding, Dad. You know, of course, that's a terrible. Isn't that a terrible thing to say? But you know, I dread that day, and I regret so much about not spending time with him or talking to him. But you know, I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, Dad, tell me all your stories," because he's got so many stories, and they've really influenced me. Because it's Father's Day, we'll start with that as the first laundry video back on the Give Me a Flake Man channel. And I'm not telling my Give Me a Break Man viewers about this. I almost said fans. I hate that. You know, I'm poisoned by the other J-vloggers or the other people who call their subscribers fans. I don't like to think of you guys as fans, as you know if you watch me. But anyway, so my dad, my dad is the Horatio Alger American Dream incarnate. That means he came to, well, actually, not really, almost, except he did it in another country. So he was raised, of course, in Peru, came to America when he was 27, I think. Well, I was born, yeah, almost the same, maybe 28. I was born when he was 27, so he's 27 years older than I am. And he came, I think, yeah, he came over on a student visa at first. To study in Alabama. And I don't remember much about those days except that we had a crappy little apartment with cheap furniture. It was just me and my brother then. My brother came over when he was only less than a month old. I think it was like 22 days old, if I remember correctly. And I guess that was like a year and a half or something. Less than that. And I came over with my mom first. And we had a maid, or a nanny, I guess. Because in those days, you know, nannies were like cheap as hell. You could bring over a nanny. I think with the visa my dad had, the student visa and the scholarship, he got a scholarship, I think, to study at a university in Alabama. Because of that, he was allowed, you know, that luxury, though actually it was really, really cheap. So in Peru, you're basically super poor, or you have a nanny, or you have maid and stuff. So my parents were, you know, just on that side. They weren't rich by any means. But anyway, came over, and my dad didn't come over. My mom came over first with our nanny. Our nanny was named Feli. And my mom looked like something out of the 1960s, like like one of those magazines, like a Joan, like a what do you call it, John F. Kennedy era, you know. And I was, I guess, alone with these two women and my brother, who was an infant for the first 6 months of my time in America. And my dad finally came over, and I was like pissed off to see him because I was like, "Oh man, I'm the boss now. I'm the man of the house. I get all the attention." And my dad came over, and the first thing he did was like yell at me because I was peeing on the toilet, sitting down, which is not a manly thing to do. And I'll tell you one thing about my dad, that he one thing that really impressed me about my dad, or has impressed me, and continues to impress me, is that he, despite being raised in a male and a sexist society, which is what Peru is. Not that it's bad; it's just the way it is culturally. Male-dominated society. He learned to embrace women's rights and all that stuff. He's a feminist, I guess. He's a leftist. He's a feminist. He's a Democrat. Whatever. My mom's the other side, though. She's a woman-hating Republican. Just kidding. No, of course she. I wouldn't. I guess she's a feminist too, but she's also a Republican. But anyway, my dad came over and he saw me sitting on the toilet. I guess I was 2 years old about then when I saw him again. And he was like, "This is no son of mine is going to sit on the toilet." And that was he was pissed. And I guess that made me angry. He was trying to save me from becoming a sissy, which I guess it was happening because I have a very vague memory of my mother was in the bathtub shaving her legs. And when you're an infant, I guess you get to see your mom naked and stuff. I don't remember that. Thank God. That might scar me for life. But seeing your mom naked is probably not something people should want to do. So I don't remember that anyway. But I remember that I shaved my legs in the bathtub because I remember thinking, "Oh, my mom does it, so I'll do it." So I assume she did it in the bathtub too, but I don't know. But for some reason, okay, that's what it was. I was taking a bath and I was alone, and I guess the razor was just there in the bathtub, so I took it. And I thought, "Oh, I'll do what mom does, and I'll shave my legs." And I didn't have any conception of what's male or female. So I started doing that, and I shaved my legs. And I cut them up really bad. And my mom came in screaming, "There's blood all over the place." So, but that's not really, that has nothing to do with my dad. Let me tell you about my dad, okay? My dad was raised poor, dirt poor in Peru. I don't know how much detail I should get into, but he was poor. No father in the picture. Don't want to get into too much detail, but he was raised basically by my mother, his mother. My grandmother, who since passed away, and he was raised very strictly. He was very strict upbringing. And I remember my grandmother. He would tell me stories about my grandmother would beat him with a spoon whenever he screwed up, and which is the way, But she loved him very much, and of course, when he became the success that he became, she was so proud of him. She would grab him. She was almost like a pain in the neck. She would grab him so hard, like, "Oh!" She would call him Papito, my Papito. And she was a short, stocky woman with the strength of like a bull, and she could pick me up right off the ground even when I was a teenager. But my father, she raised my father, so that's a big influence indirectly on me because he was raised to respect education, and so growing up, he gave me the best education that he could afford. He sent me to, a private school because he thought it was the best thing for me, and I appreciate that. And he always pushed me, but he was still sexist when I was growing up. I remember once I was combing my hair, and this influenced me. I was combing my hair in the mirror, in the bathroom, and he walks by, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, I'm combing my hair, Dad. I must have been 14 or 15. And he says, "You're a man. You don't have to be pretty. Just get good grades and get a good job. It's the woman's job to be pretty." But now we know that's not true anymore, is it? There's a lot of pretty boys these days, and I guess it is important. It does help you in your career to try to look your best. There's nothing wrong with it, right? Of course, we don't want to be shallow, but I think what he was telling me was concentrate on your book. Stop looking in the mirror like a fag. And I think that part of him, was very traditional, as in homosexuality is wrong, But they have gay friends, my parents. So I guess maybe he still harbors it in the back of his head somewhere, but he doesn't let it show. Anyway, this video is going to cut out for a second. Let me turn it off. Okay, and we're back. So that's, the influence of my father, right? That was one thing that influenced me. Another thing that influenced me about him was that I really respected the way he put himself through college driving a taxi. And that's how he met my mom, actually, if I remember correctly. I never quite got that story right, but I think they were both going to the same university. And he would drive his car as a taxi on the way to school. And he knew who she was and he liked her. And one day I think he picked her up or something. And no, there wasn't exactly that way. But anyway, I have this romantic image of my dad picking up my mom in a taxi and wooing her that way. But the point is, when I went to college, I decided I would do my best to pay the bills as much as I could. Of course, I couldn't afford it by myself. I went to New York University, and the tuition is quite expensive. But my daddy agreed to pay for the tuition, and I did my best to pay for the dorm and the food. And Dad, forgive me if I get this wrong, but I'm pretty sure I did a good job of covering the other bills. But one of the ways I did that was getting part-time jobs. First, I delivered newspapers. I worked in a kiosk. And later, I worked as a taxi driver. And I got to tell you, it's one of the most interesting jobs that I never want to do again. You could ever have. It's a really great job. Every day was interesting. I think you have to pay $400 to get the license, and then after that, you go to a garage and you rent a car for 12 hours. 12-hour shifts. It's a hard job. But it's I was 21 years old, and I did that just because my dad did it, and I wanted to kind of like I wanted to do what he did. He was my hero. My dad was my hero. My dad is my hero. When we were young, he would take us fishing, almost at least twice a month. Out ocean fishing. I remember the first time, like, you would rent this, you pay it's like a group charter fishing thing, and you pay some money and go out on the boats, and I have these vague memories of like fish jumping over the deck to come into the boat, which actually, of course, we must have been hauling them over on the fishing rods. And even my mom would fish, which she didn't later. I think she just stopped. I think she got all, princessy, but she didn't say. I remember my early memories of my mom and dad fishing together with us, which was pretty cool. There was something else I wanted to tell you about my dad, about the way he influenced me. Oh, education. Oh, what was it? Damn it. Oh, yes. I took a year off from college, and I went to South America, and I traveled around for a year. I think like 10 months or something. I took a month off because I told my dad, I said, Dad, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Studying, wasting your money. You're paying all this money for tuition, and maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Maybe I should, go explore the world and think about it. And my, what I did was I went to the professor in my university. I think I was studying comparative literature or some shit. A worthless, degree, but interesting. And I said, give me a list of the books that you think everyone should read. And he gave me a list. I told him my plan. I said, I'm going to go away for a year. Now I just want to sit. My original idea was I was going to sit in the mountains of like Machu Picchu or somewhere in Cusco and just read books for a whole year. But what ended up happening was I just ended up traveling all around Peru and Argentina and Chile, Chile, Bolivia. I think I skipped Bolivia that time. Chile, Argentina, where I met a beautiful girl that I fell in love with later. And then Brazil, where I met girls who fell in love with me. And I ended up meeting my best friend, Jeff, on that trip too. But I guess I was about 20 then. Yeah, it was before I became a taxi driver, actually. But the point here is my father told me, it doesn't matter what you do in your life as long as you're the best. You can be a garbage man, but as long as you figure out a way to do it better than everyone else, if you really put your heart into it and your back into it and do a really good job, then the money will come. He said, don't worry about the money. And I looking back at that now, I feel like it's like he must have stole that from somebody, but I don't know who. It feels like something really smart that I heard later. Like, I don't know, I read later, but how did he know that? I don't know how he I feel now that he was so wise, to tell me that. But he wasn't perfect. He spanked my ass quite a bit. He wanted me to have music in my life, so he let me try instruments out, like guitar, piano, violin. I ended up choosing violin for some gay reason. I don't know why. No offense. This is also an unfiltered channel. I try to just speak the way I was brought up. Things that feel natural. Is it wrong that it feels natural to say gay in a derogatory way? Although I'm not talking about homosexuality, I'm just saying lame. But lame is also politically incorrect, so we get stuck, right? Well, forgive me if you're everyone knows who's what. Oh God, now I got to make excuses. This is so gay too. It's gay to make excuses about using the word gay. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm really supportive of gay rights. So I just slip. I just don't think it's a big deal using gay, but I understand it's offensive. So I'm sorry. It is late. It's 1 a.m. Anyway, yeah. So he was smart. He taught me things like that, but he wasn't perfect. I remember he had me. I finally picked the violin, and he had me with this really tough Russian teacher who somehow escaped Russia in the old days. When it was still the USSR. He escaped Russia, and it was a very traumatic, exciting, exciting story of how he escaped Russia with his family. I think even like his mother was killed on the way or something, like really exciting like that. Like they didn't all make it. Like some of them were killed on the way out. So. But anyway, it was a long time ago. He was really strict, the Russian teacher too. He would like hit my hand if I didn't hold the violin correctly. And one day, I had left the violin casually, an expensive violin that my dad bought me. He was like the second one he bought me because I was getting better, so he bought me a better one. And I left it like just lying on the couch, and the bow was there. And it was like maybe it was a new bow. Maybe it was the bow that was new. I don't remember now. But anyway, my sister came by and she sat on it and broke it. And I got pissed off because you broke my bow, And I remember my sister was like 9 years younger than me, so it wasn't her fault. It was my fault. I was definitely at fault. But I yelled at her, and my dad was mad that I yelled at her, and he took the bow, and he hit me with it. He hit me not bad on the legs, but he hit me. But it hurt. It hurt, Dad. I don't remember. It's not like I was scarred. And he was, he was angry, and he left. And I knew, like, it was my fault for snapping at my sister for something that was my fault. You're supposed to put the bow away. You're supposed to put it back in the violin box, right? So, I went back. I went up to the bedroom to say, sorry, Dad. And I don't know if I ever told him this, but I saw him. He was crying. He was sitting on the bed, and not like bawling or anything, but I could tell he had been crying, or his eyes were red, or anyway, he felt really bad about spanking me, but he didn't know better. Like, that's the way he was raised. He got his ass kicked, raised by his single mom, so that's the way he knew. And I think if I didn't know that story, that maybe it would have like soured our relationship, because I know my friend Jeff, who's dead now, but who I met in Peru. I know that he and his dad like had major problems, but I don't think they were like beating problems. But it was, in the end, it was a lack of communication. And I think that although my dad and I had, of course, problems that every son and dad have, like the Oedipus complex, I wanted to kill him and marry my mother. No, of course not. But of course we had normal father-son disagreements, I'm sure. But I think we had good communication. Though I can't really remember any specific instances, except what telephone call once when when I was going through a hard time as a high school. You know, hormone crap. You know. I remember once he on the phone. He's like, "What's wrong? Are you taking drugs, or is it a girl problem?" And I'm like, "No, I should have just answered, no, I'm just a dumbass teenager." And this is what we do. We everything's so dramatic, you know. Everything's so important. But now I've grown up. I came to Japan. When I came to Japan, I guess he was about this age now, which is bizarre. And this video is going to cut out, so let me turn it off and on again, because this is a 10-minute SLR. Excuse me. Okay, we're back. What else can I say about my dad except he was my hero growing up. He's pretty much remained so. He can't spell, or he couldn't before, but he always read the New York Times and other newspapers, and he taught me. He gave me my first copy of Holden Caulfield, Catcher in the Rye. And I remember when he gave it to me, I was like, "Oh, this is probably some stupid, boring book." He's like, "You should read this. You'd really like it." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, Dad." And I think I just had it on my bedstand for like a week or so, and then one day I picked it up. I couldn't put it down. And the fact that my father thought that was a good book, I think, was another thing that, made me realize that he understood me. So I don't, of course, we don't really even talk that much now, and he's got a fascinating story growing up in Peru as a poor Peruvian, and I think that he would be able to write an amazing book. And I've told him, "Dad, come on, you got to write your story, or make videos." I even told, just make videos, just even if you don't, if you can't write it, then just make videos, and I'll write it. But he's too busy. But he's enjoying his life. He's semi-retired now. He likes Walking Dead. I think he likes House of Cards, but I'm not sure. Some other shows he watches. But some of them I watch, some of them I don't. But he goes to the movies with my mom all the time. That's great. I mean, I like, although I don't see them very much, I like the idea that my mom and dad are going to the movies often, holding hands and all that crap. That's nice. I guess that's been kind of an ideal of mine, my parents. So it wasn't just my father. I guess it was the fact that my father made it work with my mother. They never got divorced. And this gold ring right here, this gold ring is fashioned after my father's gold ring. My mom and dad both have very simple gold bands. It's heavy. It's a heavy gold ring. If you ever mug me, you're going to want this gold ring. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight you for it. When I was a baby, actually my dad's ring that he wears now is the second one, because when I was a baby and I discovered the toilet flusher, I went, while they were sleeping, I went to the bedstand and just grabbed anything I could, threw it in the toilet and flushed it. And it was a joy to watch things flush. And I flushed my parents' rings, wedding rings. I think both of them. So I better make sure that my kid doesn't do that. So I always keep mine on, though. I don't take it off even when I sleep. So he'll have much more trouble if and when that happens. But anyway, that's my Father's Day video. I wasn't planning to do a Father's Day video. I was going to do more of a drama-related video, and I may do that later. But for now, that's enough. Thanks for watching, guys. I guess the laundry videos are back. I hope you appreciate it. If you got as far as the end, tell me what you think about Canadians. All right. And I'll talk to you soon. Good night.